schedules to provide some value to potential people that are thinking about moving to Idaho. So let's just jump into maybe some market numbers of what's going on in our local markets. So I'll start off. So again, my name is Marek Davis. I'm in the Pocatello, southeastern Idaho area. I'm going to give you some information on Bannock County. So I did pull these numbers last week, so the numbers may change just a little bit. But as of last Tuesday, we had 243 homes active for sale in our area. The average days on market were 70 days. And our average sold price, again, these numbers are dating back to January 1st. So our average sold price is under $300,000. Okay. Yeah. I mean, where I live, it's Pocatello is a general city. It's a college town. Many people love Pocatello because we have mountains. There's a lot of trail riding, hiking, running, camping. And we also have a local ski resort, which is called Pebble Creek. So we get a lot of attraction to our local area based off the mountains and the outdoors that Pocatello and southeastern Idaho provides.
Like I said, up here, it's mostly mountains and lakes and kind of like people think of like a Tahoe vibe. We have less snow technically, but we do attract a lot of the same sort of people. People are coming out to enjoy the skiing or whatever. Summer is still beautiful. We got these huge lakes. We got Coeur Lake, which is massive. And then Lake Pend Oreille, which is just north of me about 25. Well, no, it's more. It's about 35 minutes north of Coeur d'Alene. And that one is actually one of the deepest in the country. I mean, that thing is a huge lake. So there's some nationally renowned fishing up here, a lot of fishing competitions. Hunting is huge. People come out for elk and moose and deer and you name it. So we have a lot of that. People out here, same thing, trail riding, a lot of just outdoorsy stuff. So everyone out here has an ATV or two or side-by-sides or RV camping, that kind of thing. Going into the market stuff. A lot of these towns, people come up here and they retire, so they don't need to worry about work. They're not necessarily centered in Coeur d'Alene. Coeur d'Alene's the one people first think of. So what you'll find is this huge divide between prices outside of Coeur d'Alene and in Coeur d'Alene. And it's all of 20 minutes away to some of these towns. So that's kind of hard to go into numbers. We can go specific into towns, but an overall for my whole MLS is at $499. This last week was the most recent number for our median sale price for residential, that is. And then land is going to be anywhere from $60,000 an acre to $30,000 an acre maybe. So things aren't not as cheap as you. We're dealing with some tougher prices out here, but still drawing a lot of people out here. So
Zach, let's hear what the Boise in the Treasure Valley is doing right now.
So right now, again, I live in Boise, Idaho. We've got over 1,300 active listings with the average days on market creeping into the mid 70s. Average purchase price is fluctuating between $540,000 and $590,000 here in Ada County. On the flip side, I also serve Canyon County, which is just right over Nampa, Caldwell, right outside of Meridian. It's a little more affordable compared to Boise, but prices are between $440,000 and $460,000. Average purchase price, average days on the market's around 70 days on market, and they've got a little over 800 active listings. Where I live, Boise tends to be where everybody likes to come, that I get an opportunity to work with, and for reasons why it's an urban agricultural city. It's not too big of a city, it's not too small of a city, so it's just the right size. We've got the main airport, which I live 7 minutes east from, and there's just a lot of things to do out here as far as like job opportunities, schools, sports, and where you both are at, you guys get a lot more snow than we do. So that is one of the things when I'm working with people, coming from out of state, they always ask the first question, do we get all 4 seasons? Yes. Okay. Well, how much snow? Not a lot. How much is a lot? A couple inches here and there. Now you guys, on the other hand, you get a lot more. And on the flip side, we're in the desert and it's so much hotter than Pocatello and probably up north is. So that is kind of, we're in between what people want for weather.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point to bring up. I don't know if we want to dive into climate a little bit, because that is a big topic I hear too. People are scared of the snow. Don't get me wrong. I was surprised with how little snow we had when I moved up here. But then again, I was coming from, a place we don't mention too often, but I came from California once upon a time, right? So I'd never seen the snow. And so moving up here, I was thinking it was going to be just blizzards all the time. You think North Idaho, but it's pretty mild. I mean, we get about 42 inches, 46 inches, something like that a year. Obviously, year dependent, right? But just in general. And one of the things we find, it was explained to me, kind of like the ocean, right? So you have the ocean regulates the atmosphere because it sucks cold and even some heat out of the air, right? So when you're going to take a long time to freeze an ocean, but you go to a smaller lake or even a pond, you're going to freeze that real quick. So with these huge lakes we have, like Coeur d'Alene, it helps regulate that temperature a bit. So what's so funny is you'll find in Coeur d'Alene, the snow is significantly lower than when you go out into like, Spirit Lake or somewhere 30 minutes from here that isn't close to that body of water. So you have mountain passes to consider where you just get the snow comes down over the mountain and just dumps on you. Those areas get a lot, but what most people experience if they're anywhere near town up here is not as bad as what a lot of people think, but definitely a lot more than you. We get, somewhere in that 40 to 50 a year, 40 to 50 inches a year. Yeah. What about you, Marek? What do you get out there?
So on our weather report here in Pocatello, we get about 49 inches of snow every year.
Yeah. Okay. You're on track with us. Yeah.
I'm less than half you guys. We average a little under 18 inches a year.
So I guess for any of the viewers that are watching, if they want to avoid the snow, go to Boise.
Where does it start turning green for you? Because you said you're in the desert, right? You do have, and it's high deserty kind of in a lot of the southern area, like down by Utah and stuff. At what point do you start hitting greenery when you're going north?
Well, with all the rain we've had, my yard's still like a brown green. But in a normal year, which in Idaho, as we all know, 4 seasons can happen all in one day. But I would probably say like mid to end of March, I start to see it. And by April, it's ready to go. I'm already mowing my yard.
This photo was actually Lake Coeur d'Alene, and then it's up at one of the places I go and I park my ATV and I'll snap pictures, right? So this is like right here in my backyard, this picture. And that's what it looks like in the middle of July or August. It just doesn't we stay green year long because of the amount of water that comes in the 5 or 6 month winter, whatever that we have, right? When it stays cooler. So what I'm wondering is if you look at like your mountains and stuff, are they all like that? Or at what point, don't you hit a point in your area that you cover north of Boise where it starts to get really green? And you cover different areas, right? That have just high desert, but also kind of mountainous stuff, like the Idaho County stuff.
Yeah, now I have to drive 35 minutes to an hour out of Boise to really start to see the word green, because for the most part it's the hills. Where Marek is from, and I'm sure where you're from, there's actual mountains. Our elevation's like 2,700 feet. Idaho Falls is over 5,000 if I'm not mistaken, right, Marek? Or close to it?
Yeah.
And so I would say probably late spring, beginning of like early summer, all of it melts clear back up in Idaho City. But in Boise, it melts pretty quick. I mean, you can see a little bit of snow up at Bogus Basin towards the end of, the snow, the skiing and sledding and stuff type of season they have up there, because that's our little ski resort that I live about 25 minutes from.
The reason we're talking about this stuff is just because we encounter so many people who, when you're looking at moving to Idaho, I think both of you guys have the same issue I do, or both have the same situation. I won't call it an issue, but the people you have moving in are a lot of times from out of state. I know certainly down in the Boise area, that's the case. And so when I'm talking to clients all the time, it's always a question of, okay, I'm going to go to Idaho. I know I'm going to Idaho. I want to be in Idaho. They've done their research there, whether it be for political reasons or whatever it might be. They know that's the area, but they don't know what area of Idaho. And you start looking at the 3 cities that have a population more than, just a few thousand, and it's really us. It's our areas. So it's North Idaho, it's Boise area, and that whole big metropolitan area. And then you got Idaho Falls, Pocatello, that whole side, which you cover, right, Marek? So that was the reason, is we're all agents with the same brokerage. We all knew each other and referred off to each other to be the experts in those areas before ever doing this. And we figured, well, shoot, with the relationships that we have and the opportunity to come out and present our clients with just an unbiased, hey, I'm not just advocating for North Idaho, but watch this podcast, get a sense of what Boise's got going on, sense of what Idaho Falls has going on, right? So that's kind of what we're going to be doing here. But we kind of grazed right over that, so I just figured it was worth mentioning kind of the idea and why we're doing this.
No, I like that because, and just hit on just a couple of points too. I mean, the whole reason was to collaborate with each other, so that I can become knowledgeable of your areas, so that whenever I have someone that reaches out to me, I can provide insight or have them go to this video to watch, right? And to get a kind of a personal feel with how you guys, talk, how professional you guys are, et cetera, right? I think one thing that I did forget to mention too, which I think is super cool of like my area, is like I'm 2 hours from Salt Lake City. I'm 2 hours from West Yellowstone's entrance, right? 2.5 hours. So, I mean, I feel like I'm in like a fairly, like, I'm not central Idaho, right? I'm not where Zach is or where you are, but like, I feel like I'm in a unique area where I'm within a couple of hours of major cities or, places that provide a lot of entertainment, right?
Yeah.
So...
No, and I'm going to say absolutely with Marek, because I'm originally from Idaho Falls, as I had stated before. I'm a lifelong Idahoan. I mean, I took it for granted, I think. I didn't go as many times as I should have. And there's so many people that are always asking, what is around Idaho Falls? So you have West Yellowstone, Bear World, Jackson Hole, Heisey, Lava Hot Springs, Salt Lake. I mean, you go on and on about East Idaho. That is my home, and that's where I met Marek at when I went to Idaho State University, where he lives probably 10 minutes from. And, I think that area is amazing in itself, and a lot of people sleep on it. It's a great area to live, a great place to, raise a family. You can get a bang for your buck on all walks of life. My area, on the other hand, it's a lot more expensive, but we do have, again, that urban city. We have a lot more to provide as a whole, but we are way more crowded, and a lot of people like those small areas.
What was your population where you're at, Cody?
Well, so Coeur d'Alene, they'll tell you it's a daytime population of about 80,000. So that's not residents, that's daytime, because you're going to get people coming in from other towns to work, right? So 60,000 is what they say are actually living here. It sure feels like it's getting more than that real quick. And then Post Falls, which is right next to us, has about 35 approaching 40. They're probably somewhere more in that ballpark. But the thing is we grow so fast, these numbers are hard to even, I don't know if you've ever driven by these signs and looked at like, welcome to Boise, population 100,000. It's like, okay, get out of here, right? So they update so slowly. So it's really hard to actually get a definitive number, but we're at least there. I mean, the numbers I'm giving you are very conservative. We're more than that. So between the towns, and then you have Hayden, which is literally, it's separated by a street. Coeur d'Alene and Hayden, you would drive into it not knowing you hit a different town. It's one of those setups, right? So although Coeur d'Alene is 60,000, Hayden's 20, Post Falls right next door is near 40. So you start getting up there, and when you take the whole county, you're at about 160. But then you also, the other thing that a lot of people didn't notice because it's not Idaho related, it's Washington, is you have Spokane, Washington, which is 30 minutes from me. I mean, it's just on the other side of the border. So you're 30 minutes from a metropolitan area with like 600,000 people. So it's not, it feels busier, especially during COVID, when you have all these people flocking into Idaho to be able to go to the beach or go to a store without a mask or do something like that. We were just getting pummeled with people, right? So it felt like way more people than we could sustain. So that's why we're growing more and more on these outskirt towns, because you have the resources you need, but they're a little bit further out. Maybe 30 minutes to go into Spokane for a really good trauma center is too far for some people. And in that case, a place like Boise makes a lot of sense, where you have medical care that's far larger than what we got going on up here.
One thing that I want to just mention too is, so with my local area, so we have about 75,000 people, give or take. And then in Idaho Falls, the population is about 130,000 people. So, I mean, comparative to like Boise, my areas are a lot smaller in terms of, it is somewhat like rural but urban, but definitely like the Boise market or Boise area is very much so urban. Like, would you compare Boise, Zach, to like Salt Lake City in a sense?
It's a mini Salt Lake, definitely.
What's one thing that has just came to Boise that you have been
Top golf, that is one thing that our content creator, Jeremy Vasquez with Idaho Pro Marketing, always makes it a routine every time he comes up to film with me and hang out for a day or two. But the one I haven't done yet is In-N-Out, and that just opened at 10:30 this morning, and people camped out the night before, and there was Facebook groups literally offering, if you pay them $25 an hour, they would save you a spot in line, and people were biting on that.
Have you had a chance to drive by In-N-Out today?
Thankfully, social media is so powerful. I've just gotten the honor of not having to go and check it out. I have friends that have posted it. I had a friend that paid someone to cut in front of line, and he sent me his receipt, and he went at like 10:40 this morning. And I said, thanks for thinking of me, but no, I have not driven by.
What's something that you enjoy in your local market, Cody, that you haven't mentioned today?
As far as businesses, so really the main thing out here is the outdoors stuff. So I mean, we have, you guys mentioned ski resorts. We got numerous ski resorts like right here that people come from, all over for. So we got some really, really good skiing. We got really good like trail riding, things like for bicycles. You got a lot of mountain biking, but then we have, trails that go stretch from Washington all the way over to Montana. So you're just riding along the rivers and stuff. You got a bunch of fishing and hunting, like I said. So for me, I'm an outdoorsy guy. That stuff is right down my wheelhouse. So what's cool was I moved out here, and I didn't buy acreage. That was everyone's dream when they go North Idaho, is to have acreage. And don't get me wrong, that's awesome, right? But when I first came out here, I was working at the sheriff's office. I had to commute in. So I wasn't about to go and live somewhere where I had to go 30 minutes, to work every day, 40 minutes, 50 minutes to work every day. I just didn't want to do that. So what's cool is I had a buddy who moved out before I did, and he told me, hey, you're not going to need it. When you get out here, you're going to realize there's so much open land that you want to go shoot your guns, you want to go ride your quad, you want to do this, that, or the other. I drive 3 minutes from my driveway on my ATV, and I'm in National Forest. I'm 5 minutes from 3 different lakes. I got Lake Hayden, Lake Coeur d'Alene, Lake Fernan. So I can walk to all this stuff if I wanted. So that's the cool part. Businesses, we do have a lot up and coming, but we still, if you were committed to, I had a client who was telling me, hey, I want, her normal home criteria, and I need to be 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever she said to a GameStop because her son liked walking to a GameStop. I'm like, well, there goes all my options right out the gate, because that gives us one of them, right? We don't have a lot of it's not like that. It's not like you can look and say, hey, I want to be near a Starbucks. I can live in all these different areas. You're going to be limited by the businesses you want to go to if that's a huge concern for you. So most of our stuff is outdoorsy. But there's some, a lot of the businesses are small mom and pops, and a lot of them are really supportive of the families, and they do free events and stuff. So that's what I've been doing more than anything, because I got little ones, and going to these free events here and there at just these businesses. If I named you, would never know them. Yeah,
That's awesome.
What about you? What do you got?
Yeah, I think so. One of the things that me and my family like to do, we bought a camper last year. We had set a goal a couple years ago that we were going to buy a camper. So we like to camp. We like to spend time with our friends and our family. We like to go on hikes. We like to go up to Island Park. So my father-in-law, he builds cabins for a company up in Island Park, which is 45 minutes south of West Yellowstone's entrance. So we like to go up there and spend time and go to the lake. We like to go on bike rides, spend time in nature. That's pretty much what me and my family like to do. We like to spend a lot of time outside. One thing that I like to do a lot is I like to golf. And so here in Pocatello, we have 3 golf courses. And yes, I am a member of all 3 because I golf so much. It's why am I paying $60 green fees every single time I go? I'll just get the membership. It actually has been, it's actually cheaper for me to do the membership than as compared to how much times I golf. So that's like the big thing for me is I like to golf. I do have a side-by-side. We like to go, and what's really cool about like where my house is positioned is I can ride to Black Rock Canyon, which is less than 5 minutes away from my house. Or if I want to go up, you know, what is it? Where's that? What's that mountain, Jeremy?
Scout Mountain.
Scout Mountain, yeah. If I want to ride up Scout Mountain, that's 10 minutes from my house. And I don't even have to load my side-by-side on the trailer. I can just ride it on the road. And I'm also, what's really cool is we spend a lot of time at Lava Hot Springs, which is natural hot water. We go up there, I would say at least a couple times a month. Like in the summertime, like we don't spend very much time up there, but if we ever do, we go like in the early morning because it's like, 60 degrees outside. Well, I just want to say I appreciate anybody that took the time out of their day to watch this video. Again, we are Idaho Insight. This is our podcast. We're all realtors with eXp Realty, and we are wanting to serve you and help you buy or sell in our areas, and continue to watch us to get great content and value and be educated, so that if you guys are ever looking to buy or sell in our area, you guys can use this as a resource.